NutriMedical Report, the NutriMedical Living with Dr. Bill Deagle, and of course we had an excellent guest yesterday, Jonathan Gray. He'll be back. We have remarkable stories for you to tell. I want to start off today's program. It's open lines, and by the way, all of the shows are open lines. You can call in. You have to stay on topic, though, and tell our board op, Todd, exactly what your question or statement is. The open line call-in number is 888-420-9890, and you can call anywhere in the world to the program live here at NutriMedical Living with Dr. Bill Deagle. And also I do a 3-hour Genesis show before this. That is over at GCN, and that number 800-259-5791. That is 12 to 3 Pacific, 3 to 6 Eastern, 2 to 5 Central, 3 to 6 Eastern. And this program is 6 to 7 Eastern Time, 5 to 6 p.m. Central Time, and 3 to 4 Pacific Time Zone. So, again, that number is 888-420-9890. Just want to touch on some of the news. One of the top stories I found here, particularly wrenching, is Pope Francis urges cultural revolution to save planet from climate change. This is an anti-pope. This is not a pope. This is a sign of really serious problems that are going on. We have, of course, the spread of Boko Haram, which is connecting with ISIS. ISIS is an arm of the CIA, NSA, Israeli intelligence, Saudi intelligence, all working together to create a caliphate, and it's all an arm of the globalist operations to try to create an engine of chaos, an engine of terror, so that the public will accept further loss of their liberty, further control, further police state involvement, not only in America but around the world. So, believe it or not, that's what's going on. We talked about this in the last hour with Tim Alexander, our geopolitical historian. I had a chance to talk to our nuclear expert today, Chris Harris. Here's the latest. They can't remove all the fuel rod assembly pellets from the Fukushima Daiichi plant. The situation is such they don't have a place to put them in the common cooling pool. Now there's increasing problems with that hydrogen generation because of the zirconite cladding and the deteriorating fuel rod assembly pellets that increases the likelihood of a hydrogen explosion causing a nuclear explosion at the Fukushima plant. So we're now seeing the nuclear desertification of the North Pacific Ocean caused by the radiotoxins from Fukushima. They have decreased their actual rate of removal of radiotoxins and pellets from these 3 cooling pools because they don't have a place to put them in the common cooling pool. They have no place off-site. But again, the same problem is around worldwide. All the nuclear plants on the planet, and they're building new ones, don't have any storage place other than on-site for their spent fuel, so that 50 to 60 years plus of fuel is now stored on-site. That's what's really going on. It's hard to believe, but it's really happening. Bags of containment soil damaged at the storage site. They literally have contaminated soil damaged at their storage sites right on the Fukushima plant area. And Nahara, which is the evacuation orders to be lifted in mid-August, which is an area of a town near the crippled Daiichi reactor. They're literally making the people return to an area that's still highly radioactive, and the radioactivity is increased. So we're seeing children basically with dwarfism, no release of growth hormone, serious thyroid and other cancers. Just unbelievable that they do this. We also see increased volcanism around the world. Mount Asama is erupted the first time in 6 years. This is in middle Japan. Again, remember, the entire Japanese islands are a chain of volcanic islands. And if you go to the extinctionprotocol.wordpress.com, you'll see a series of issues dealing with the Indonesian volcano set to blow. This is, again, similar to the supervolcano that blew 75,000 years ago that destroyed the native peoples of North America. They were completely wiped out by it, and it literally reduced the human race to, they say, less than 5,000 humans on the entire planet. So that's from probably millions on the entire planet down to less than 5,000. So that's what's happening. Indonesia is ready to blow. We know that the magma chamber of Mount Fuji in Japan is literally half filled now, ready to blow again soon. Alaska's Cleveland volcano is re-entering a renewed period of unrest. And, of course, we have the white alert for the Ecuadorian volcano Cotopaxi. Cotopaxi is also, and the water table, of course, is dropping all over the world. NASA warns we're on the path to global drought. Of course, it's amplified by the fact that we do have primary water, which is 2,400 feet, 1,600 to 2,400 feet or more. Primary water is located deep in the earth, in the bowels of the earth, which was spoken of in the book of Genesis that occurred when the great waters of the deep plus the waters above and the canopy over the entire planet. The Dyson sphere canopy of vapor literally collapsed in a giant rainfall lasting 40 days, but it was also the waters of the deep that rose. And that's why the ark landed on Mount Ararat, which is in the mountains of Turkey, and where all the original farming started. We talked about this yesterday with Jonathan Gray. The worldwide drought, by the way, they want to make the best of this. They want to make water more dear than oil and gas. And the water crisis, of course, is being amplified by geoengineering of the climate. They have a blocking high in the North Pacific, blocking weather systems moving in. They're highly radioactive from Japan in the air. Most of the radiation, by the way, from my analysis of incomplete data, suggests that the air masses, by the time it reaches North America, somewhere around northern Washington State or southern British Columbia, is over 20,000 feet high, and it goes over the top of the mountains, descends on the other side of the Rocky Mountains, goes to the Midwest, and then shoots back to the Northeast. It also goes transpolar. It lands in Eastern Europe. And so what we're seeing is an increase in water crisis, increase in famine, extreme in climate, which is going to cause major decrease in food supplies worldwide starting this year. So we've had 7 fat years since 2008. We are now starting this 7 lean years. So it's very timely. We have Mad Max with the global drought and what's going on there. Mad Max's latest movie on there. And the giant dust storms that are occurring that are very common across the Middle East and Sahara. And, of course, we have the giant floods now. The northern jet stream has disappeared now some weeks ago with the giant flooding across Texas with stable weather systems that won't move because the jet stream is now literally gone for the first time recorded in modern history. There's no northern jet stream. And the Tbilisi residents were warned over zoo animals after devastating flood, and 12 are dead. So this is in the Georgian mountains, South Caucasus Mountains. And, of course, wild animals on the loose. A tiger that killed a man and wounded another after escaping from the flooded zoo in Georgia has been shot dead, Georgian Interior Ministry says. So we see a picture of a man with a gun trying to shoot a hippo outside of a home in Georgia, believe it or not. A team finds unprecedented evidence of African continent capable of producing a megaquake. And this is now another article from the extinctionprotocol.wordpress.com. The study comes on the back of a series of damaging earthquakes already this year, including the Nepal and Papua New Guinea. Study may be much in use in predicting the effects of earthquakes in those countries. The reason why earthquakes are increasing dramatically is because gravity waves are coming into the planet. Gravity waves are vibrational waves in the continuum, or the fifth dimension, because time-space is embedded in the Higgs field, or the gravitonic field. And the Higgs field basically is the substance that forms wormholes. It also forms the continuum upon which the fifth dimension, which is time-space, is embedded in. When a gravity wave comes in at faster than the speed of light, it transfers energy to the plasma of the Earth itself and the nuclear reactor, which is the planet. It increases like hitting a jig, the slide of the tectonic plates. It increases the volcanism under earthquake zones, and increases also the plasma effects on weather systems to energize superstorms. So when the CERN accelerator was hit about a month ago, and the earthquake hit Nepal, it was at the exact same time, and it was because the gravity wave shut down the accelerator tube at CERN. It also hit Nepal and triggered off a superquake. And Mount Asama volcano erupts in Tokyo, geological activity increasing in Japan. By the way, the Japanese earthquakes at Richter 5 or higher have increased 500% since March 11, 2011. So we're going to have major superquakes. All reactors in Switzerland, all 5, are sitting on fault lines. Most of the reactors either on fault lines or in tsunami zones. And Cumbra Viejo, which is in the Azores, is very likely to blow. And I know on Jeff's program, Tim Riffat's talked about the idea the Russians would simply hit it with a low-yield nuclear weapon and could simply knock the island off, and it's quite possible, but it may happen on its own without any provocation, because it's already been sliding for the last 30 years, been watched. That if that slides, it'll create a tsunami roughly 800 to 1,000 feet high and traveling at Mach 1, or around 700 miles an hour, so it'll travel faster than the speed of sound, toward North America, toward the British and French and Spanish coasts, and it will be devastating. We'll go over 100 miles inland on the relatively low areas of the coastal plains of the United States and eastern Canada. So people think, well, this can't happen, this can't happen. These earth changes are going to happen, and there will be, as happened previously, lithospheric slip where the crust will separate from the mantle and it will grind up and create superquakes, new continental breaks, and create a chain of islands out of the west coast of the United States. Probably raise the east coast of the areas of the Grand Banks off of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, and will have other devastating effects in terms of the coastal United States, where nuclear reactors will go critical, and we'll have a giant explosion of nuclear reactors losing containment along the U.S. coast, Britain, France, etc. So they should be shutting these all down and converting to liquid natural gas, but no, they're not going to do that. They're too stubborn and too stupid to realize that the nuclear age is over. So that's what's happening there. In terms of what's happening in terms of health issues, I want to touch on some of the latest health issues that are in the news today in Google News, so you get an idea of some of the things that make sense and some that don't. The Ebola issue, by the way, is by no means over. It, of course, is artificially created and advanced as a new super strain. And we did ship back in January 300-plus vials of Nutriodine to Ragma Ministries, and not one of our ministry healthcare professionals or the villagers that received it came down with Ebola. So we have universal antipathogenics. Our monoatomic Tesla-activated Nutriodine, prophesied by Edgar Casey. We have the only engineer, NASA contract engineer in the world that knows how to make it. We also have Allison Med, which is a further upgrade from Alamed, developed by Peter Jostling, 200 milligrams more at less than half the price. We also carry Alamax and Alamed. We also have the Silver 100, the only citrate complex, stable complex of 100% ionic form silver, which is the only form that's lethal against pathogens or stimulate stem cells. We are going to see super plagues. We are going to see war here, probably major war in the Middle East this fall, major correction in the economy, and people need to start taking care of their health with natural nutraceuticals and getting away from drugs and taking the minimum amount of drugs if they take any at all, because their doctors are not trained in functional medicine, not trained in toxicology, infectious disease, radiotoxicology, or scalar poisoning of the body with radiotoxins such as smart meters, Wi-Fi networks, and switching mode power supplies. So if you want help in those areas, contact us at NutriMedical.com, NutriMedical.com. The other website is clayandiron.com, which is from the book of Daniel, and we include the above government technology, including a paper I posted some years ago from a Finnish munitions expert that was contracted by the Port Authority in New York to actually demolish the World Trade Center towers. It was a controlled demolition under the control of the U.S. government, the Port Authority in New York, and the Israeli Mafia in New York City under Silverstein. So if people want to dispute this, what I tell people is don't do ad hominem attacks, but attack the intellectual basis upon which you say these things. I have not had in 5 years one person willing or gutsy enough to actually confront me on air on any topic. And the reason is because if we refuse to accept ad hominem attacks, which are not relevant, and we deal with the intellectual issues, you'll have very thin ice if you're trying to oppose us on any issue we bring forward. And as I say, I receive information on both a natural and a supernatural level, and when they two correlate, and they correlate with scientists we cross-check references for, like the gravity waves affecting volcanism on the planet, and the first-hand knowledge of the geoengineering of the upper atmosphere, and the literally weaponization of the planet for geotectonic and volcanic events and weaponizing weather. This is not really open to dispute. It's just one of those is things. You have to, accept it and pray a lot about it, because it's going to get much more vicious before we finally solve it. And it could be solved if a large minority of the population decided to finally say, hey, maybe this is real. Yeah, it's going to become real when you realize that they try to seize your bank account. It'll become real when the radiation level is so bad that women are not having normal babies anymore. It'll become so real when there's no normal safe fish from the Pacific Ocean. The state of California has already ruled that they're not going to allow people to purchase or want to recommend people purchase filter feeder fish like scallops or other filter feeding things like oysters. And literally right after March 11th, 2011, the Chinese government literally banned all of our fish from the coast of the United States and Canada because they knew it would be radioactive. They knew it would be bioconcentrating these radiotoxins. So that's a reality. Another area that I think people should be aware of is the change in the radiation from the sun. It's causing cataracts, it's causing sun damage, it's also photoactivating toxic chemicals you take from your doctor. There's many different drugs that you take that are actually photoactivated and become biotoxins. And so I tell people sunscreens are relatively useless, except ones that contain things like titanium or zinc that actually block the sun. But they actually cause more trouble. And you want to have sunscreening clothing and just stay away from the sun and wear proper hats during the day. But during the time from 10 to 3, I tell people don't be out in direct sun. It's really important that you understand that. The next area that I'd like to talk about is the area of some of our latest protocols in terms of how we approach illness. Ideally, if you have a simple problem, you just email here at NutriMedical.com or call our order line, 888-212-8871. That's 888-212-8871, or drop an email to NutriMedical.com. We'll provide you a quick answer, free. But if you want to send a whole pile of medical records, other things, do not try to fax them. Scan and attach them with a consult form. There is a fee for an email or phone consult, and I'll respond to that. I often recommend that people get a QRMA machine, which is a quantitative resonant magnetic analysis machine. We will be discussing this and other technologies with Michael from China on the Monday show. We'll also talk about the 8DLRIS, which is a latest version of the Russian Dr. Nestorov Nonlinear Space Institute for the cosmonauts quantum resonant diagnosis using hydrophones and quantum physics. And we're able to actually do sections of different organs and tissues right down to the individual cell, and even specific parts of chromosomes to tell you which is out of balance. We can do spectral analysis of the frequency to see the efficacy of supplements and or drugs, and we can actually give you a specific anatomical diagnosis of what the problem is and determine if you need to have more advanced conventional testing like MRI, CT scan, X-ray, blood tests, ultrasounds, genetic analyses, or tests for heavy metals, etc. So that's very specific. We also have the Metatron, which is the most advanced diagnostic machine in the world for nonlinear physics, developed by Dr. Nestorov and the Russian Space Agency. And we are able now to create what's called a morphogenic field using that attached to our X-Vitalizer machine. That technology is further developed by Dr. Wang and Michael Chen, an engineer in China, and they have clinics in Shanghai and Hong Kong. They will be coming out in the next few weeks to actually help collaborate with me to develop the next generation of these devices. What they do basically is they change the plasma physics of your body, because your body has charged molecules, and change the information that's being translated from your DNA and your epigenetics to actually stimulate the healing process at an epigenetic level. We could also recommend specific tests based on your wellness history and your quantum test, your 8DLRIS and Metatron, for blood tests, toxicology, infectious disease pathogens, DNA probes, immunology tests, and possible referrals to conventional doctors, but very specialized clinics, because I don't recommend ever radiation therapy or proton treatment for cancer. I never recommend paint-by-number chemo. If you're going to do any chemotherapy, it should be off-label use of drugs specifically based on the gene analysis of your cancer. And so the best clinics we use are affiliates down in Mexico, like the Isles Clinic, where they have affiliates in Riverside with Dr. Kim and their son, Dr. Isles, in Santa Barbara, that does gene-based cancer treatment. As I say, we collaborate with and refer people to clinics around the world where specialty treatment can be given for conditions that would not be treated in maybe your home country, whether it's America, Australia, New Zealand. And we recommend that people that want to find out their nutritional imbalances, we can do functional medicine tests to corroborate after they get quantitative resonant tests like the QRMA. The nice thing about the QRMA test is you can repeat it every few weeks to a month. And you can do it every day if you want to, but you just hold the electrode for a minute. It'll tell you all the harmonic frequencies of what your nutrient levels are, your mineral requirements, your heavy metals. 1/3 of the tests are really straightforward. 1/3 require advanced medical training, and 1/3 are very esoteric that if you don't have advanced understanding of the technology, you won't be able to interpret. What people do when they purchase a QRMA machine from me, which is the only certified ones, there's knockoffs, I will provide for the first 6 analysis a free report and analysis of their compressed file, along with their medical wellness history, which they can obtain. They don't have to pay an additional fee to get the multi-page intake history form. It's in as an attachment along with any X-rays, lab work, or MRI scans, etc. And I'll merge all the data to tell them what they need to do. And it doesn't matter which country they're in, whether it's South Africa, Russia, China, or wherever. I'll give them the most advanced in terms of medical care, surgical care, alternative care, and the treatments that they can do. Now, out of this, we've decided to franchise, and our franchise system will be where we will authorize specific individuals that are going to be in a contractual relationship with us to have mobile vans that will have hyperbaric oxygen therapy, morphogenic field therapy, diagnostics, QRMA, ATLRS, Metatron, and have the capability of drawing blood, urine, stool, and sending it off by FedEx to certified laboratories, and we'll download their wellness histories of people so we can decide if they need to see a conventional doctor, surgeon, or specialist in their local area or refer to another facility or country. And that'll allow us to provide services to people that will give them far more advanced analysis long before they have pathology. We'll be able to tell them what's wrong with them physically. This is literally like Spock in the 25th century Star Trek, where we can use the quantum physics of their physical biology to determine if they need other testing. And we'll know what interventions to do long before they have actual physical symptoms that their body is toxic. So when we come back, we will take your calls on any issue, health, geopolitical issues, spiritual issues. That number to call into the show is 888-420-9890. And coming up in the program tomorrow, Professor James McCanney, Tier 1 astrophysicist and nuclear scientist, we'll have an interesting discussion about the galaxy, gravity waves, the approaching disaster to our planet, the plans for globalists to bunker down, the wing generation program, which is the alternative to the crazy energy generation. Wing generation combined with light sail would be the ideal marriage for energy generation. And we will be back in just a few minutes, 888-420-9890. Stay tuned to NutriMedical Living back to the NutriMedical Report, the NutriMedical Living with Dr. Bill Deagle. I want to talk about a couple of interesting topics and to cover the range of things that we do. The other website is clayandiron.com. It covers news, geopolitical, and spiritual issues. My primary goal is to arm people with nutraceutical and other technologies I call the power of ones to restore their health and to extend their human lifespan. We're probably no more than 5 to 20 years away from zero senescence, where people will physically not age, they'll only die of stupidity, arrogance, or wars. And, doing stupid things or having violent things happen. I'm going to be presenting a paper this coming December to the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, which will change the history of medicine on the planet and also change the way we approach the plasma physics of all biological systems, both oceanography, plant, animal life on the planet, looking at the plasma physics of what a living thing is. I presented my paper 33 years ago to a panel of biophysicists at the University of Calgary, Alberta, after doing research with pulse magnetic field machines from Holland and building a morphogenic field machine under government grants, because I have a background in plasma nuclear physics and advanced chemistry. What I do now is I teach in the Academy of Environmental Medicine, Advancement in Medicine, and Anti-Aging Medicine. I blogged all the doctors in the world weekly to the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine on environmental issues, such as Fukushima Daiichi, the toxicology of how it affects gene transcription and aging, and how toxicology is tied directly to the reduction of human IQ, fertility, and the feminization of the male population. NutriMeds are the 7-star nutraceuticals that I have, roughly 200. Plus, we have our Indiamese, which remineralizes your nucleoplasm in your cells to increase epigenetic expression. Cardiovascular, our seminal heart protection nutraceutical. Technologies such as Lumen Photon, which is pulse light therapy for healing tissues, stimulating regeneration of tissues, nitric oxide, pain control, and stem cell regeneration. The NASA device MicroPulse we carry. We also have access to all the pulse magnetic field machines. My favorite are the little portable ones like the MicroPulse. We do have access to the other devices such as the Metathera and the PMT-100. And we carry right now the X Vitalizer, which is one of my favorites because it can be attached to the Bioplasm NLS, or the latest version called the 8D LRIS and Metatron. They can actually create a morphogenic field to actually change your body biophysics. So in other words, we can put you in a field that will stimulate tissue regeneration, healing, and rebalancing your body energetic plasma of all your energy systems that regulate your genetics. We have advanced anti-aging nutraceuticals like Mountain Red Velvet. We have pure water systems. You get a code of 10% off if you use the code NutriMed. We have the from China and Russia, the QRMA, ATLRS, and bioresonant technologies like the Metatron from the Russian Space Agency. We have the silver 100, hundreds to thousands of times stronger than any colloidal or other silver. We carry the VibraSlim, which Europlate, only $12.99 for a device that would otherwise cost, like the PowerPlate, $5,000 to $10,000. This is $12.99 with free shipping and all modular parts so that the engine's given life support. We have the only non-acid wash zeolite called Ultra Zeolite for detoxing heavy metals. Of course, my wife has a particular website. We have charitable donations, of course, on our site to help people that don't have ability to purchase nutraceuticals. So we are able to help people like Ragma Ministries in Africa during Ebola. We do have consults. If people wish to have an advanced consult and they have a lot of history they want me to review, they can purchase time units, a half an hour time unit, or a number of units depending on how complex their email is. We have our affiliates, Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy, with Bruce McKeeman, and of course his number is 612-325-8243 because his website's down, but we are directly affiliated with them, and we're trying to include them in our mobile, we want to call franchise NutriMedical mobile therapy vans that will actually be able to do therapy and diagnostics anywhere in the world. And we want to hear from you in terms of what you want and what you think is reasonable in terms of an arrangement there. We're going to get some feedback, but we're going to come up with a specific contract that will be applied to most countries. We have, of course, the less EMF electrosmog detection for ultraviolet light, radiation, nuclear testing, etc., and materials to block radiation of all types. We have PrepareWise foods that have the best Mylar storage containers, and we have the Ready Store as well. Ready Store is excellent for not only emergency foods but also emergency equipment and so medical survival supplies. And they also have a great online videos that are free, as well as audio for people who want to learn how to prep. If you look at our website, NutriMedical.com, we have a number of things. You can listen to the Genesis show from 12 to 3 Pacific live, and there's a call-in number 800-259-5791. The Rent Show, NutriMedical Living with Dr. Bill Deagle, is currently an hour. It may soon be moving up to 2 hours. The call-in number there is 888-420-9890. And all of our archives on both networks are free. We're also going to start transferring over to our own servers and cross-indexing, so you'll be able to check it by topic, specific issues. And I have a live stream TV channel where one of my co-broadcasters, Tim Alexander, puts a geopolitical report up. We have other experts who will be posting up reports too, and all of them are free to our customers. You just have to purchase one product. You have access also to what's called the wellness conditions. If you go to the top and you'll see a list of, it says news, products, wellness conditions. You can hit that and actually look up pretty well any topic, or go over to the product and news search box and put in something like migraines, and it'll pull up a wellness condition. And if you purchase a product, you'll have the passwords for the next 6 months that'll allow you to get access to the wellness condition, so you can search what was the current thing. Now, of course, these need to be updated because there's a lot. I usually list in the wellness conditions box a number of current updates, like autoimmune diseases, back and lower and upper back pain, diabetes type 2, obesity, diverticulosis, osteoporosis, otitis media, and thyroid hypofunction, type 1 and type 2. Those will change because, of course, I do new updates, but there's hundreds of wellness conditions there. We have, of course, in our affiliates page, the NutriMeds at the top of our NutriMedical Associates, then a code for 10% off for Pure Water Systems. Dave and Jean Mitchell, which are I call super preppers and realtor brokers here in Southern California. Dave will actually help you whether you're moving out of a big city anywhere in America to somewhere else, using other brokers that he can work with, or even helping you outside the country. But ideally, you want to be in a place that's safe. I like areas of rural Southern California where you actually have deep wells that you can actually get to. You're not part of the drought problem because there's more water down here, especially if you have already an existing deep well. We have a link directly to MG12, Amazing Healing Detox Nutraceuticals. My personal dentist, the best I consider dentist I've ever been to, cosmetics, the third highest rated dentist in Southern California, Dr. Jeffrey Curbs, who is a biological dentist accredited by the American Biological Dental Association, as well as a top cosmetic dentist. And if you put the code in Dr. Bill, you'll get some additional savings there. Again, his byline is the art of creating beautiful smiles. They have a fantastic clinic and the most advanced equipment, including Deagle laser, ozone therapy, and other technologies for healing and getting rid of cavitations. I recommend, by the way, lumen photon therapy with that. And we also have, of course, Dr. Bob Dennis and the MicroPulse. It's under $400 if you get our code, Dr. Deagle. The Vibra Slim vibrational exercise machine, less EMF. The direct link to Dr. Jonathan Gray's ebooks. He was on yesterday on the program. Remarkable author and archaeologist at PrepareWise Foods, Lumen Photon, and Jurisdictionary, the best pro-lytic and training course. And Professor James McKenney's ebooks and videos, etc. Ann Morrison's on the third hour on my Friday Genesis show, scientist talking about all kinds of things like Ebola and plagues and space weather. A link directly to Joel Skousen's World Affairs Brief, and of course his other website, Joel Skousen, with his preparedness books of a safe home as well as a strategic relocation. Turtle Tough Shelters, the best shelters you can get. They're portable, resilient survival shelters. Will stand 150 mile an hour winds, and of course the Ready Store. And the bottom link is one of the most important. It's Clay and Iron, which is my own personal website that covers all the geopolitical, spiritual, prophetic, and other news items, and above government technology as well as classified information. It's all over there under secure server, so they can't hack into it at clayandiron.com. And so, as I say, I work day and night, 7 days a week on this, and take breaks now and then. But I'm desperate to get the truth out, and I want to have people challenge intellectually the truth of what we're saying. And then when you ask questions yourself, you'll own the truth and you'll do something about it rather than just pretending that it's just something that we're doing as kind of a form of bizarre entertainment. It's not. This is real. This is serious. This is the human race is now in a race against time, with events racing toward the destruction of civilization. And here in America, we have a president that's destroying the country. Even the Democrats were not cheering when the Republicans were cheering Obama at a sporting event recently about the Trans-Pacific Partnership because they want globalism. And the Democrats were freaked out and were booing Obama because of that. So this gives you an idea how desperately late the hour is. Some of the latest protocols that I've been dealing with today, just to give you an idea of the kind of range of questions and issues that we talk about. I had an interesting request for a person who had ulcerative colitis, and they said, well, I can't swallow all those pills. And I said, well, don't. Open up the capsules and grind up the tablets, and you can get your ulcerative colitis under control. Ulcerative colitis, a typical drug will be given the old drug called sulfasalazine or some of the newer disease-modifying drugs. We want to fix the problem, so you use GastroHeal Zinc Carnosine to heal the gut wall, Cell Defense anti-inflammatory, and berberstatin and allicin med to get rid of the pathogens, berberine, and the allicin med, which is very powerful antipathogenics. You want to recolonize your gut with the Rizal 6 strain from Paris, Living Probiotic. Living Probiotic Ultra, the most powerful probiotic on the planet, the How Are You strain. You want immunoglobulins equivalent to IVIG, intravenous immunoglobulins called NutraImmune. You want to block the carbohydrates that can wreck your bowel, like lactose blocker and carbo blocker. And you want to use allergon and allerblock. The allergon gets rid of histamine. It's an enzyme called diamine oxidase. Allerblock, which is a natural antihistamine. To repair the DNA, ellagic acid and malignoblock. These are going to repair the DNA in the cell membranes of your gut wall. And to calm the gut down, Calm Mind, which is myoinositol, suntheanine, L-theanine, and GABA, magnesium glycinate, malate, and of course to get the body in an alkaline state that turns off cytokines and inflammatory reactions, Power C, and full vitamin K2. You open the capsules up. You can make up enough if you want for a week. Take a scoop out and put a small scoop into a blender. You can use as the base for it NutriComplete, reds and greens, a life support, ageless, and then have that in your refrigerator. Take a small glass of it out, open up the scoop of the powder and the punctured soft gels, put it into the glass, and then you don't have to swallow any tablets or swallow any pills. You just simply drink a nice tasting smoothie, and it solves the problem. So it gives you an idea how simple this is to try to fix the problems. And we often get questions all the time about people wanting to get treatment for cancer. We recommend, number one, our NutriMed line, nutraceuticals for cancer. This is for a glioblastoma this person asked for the other day. I recommend, firstly, no radiation and no paint-by-numbers chemo. I recommend the Isel's Clinic in Mexico, along with our NutriMeds, which includes malignant arrest, to stop the metabolism of the cancer, malignant block, and the ellagic acid to repair the DNA or cause apoptosis, high-dose Power C and full vitamin K2, menaquinone 7, enzymes to strip off the capsule of the tumor, like in Flex, and myco-D2, ergothioneine to stimulate your immune system, along with NutriDefense to attack the tumors. And, of course, the dendritic vaccine, which basically takes the RNA of the cancer, amplifies a T-cell clone to attack the cancer, and we amplify that with intravenous Laetrile, hyperthermia, and other treatments to make a very effective immune attack against it. We don't just damage your immune system, we amplify it to attack the tumor. And if you're going to do cancer therapy that's based on gene-based cancer treatment, the Isel's Clinic has an affiliate with Dr. Isel's in Santa Barbara, and they also have an affiliate of Dr. Kim in Riverside at Loma Linda University, 7th event Loma Linda. There also is a BioCare and the Oasis of Hope in Tijuana. I don't recommend conventional treatments here in America. I think that the paint-by-number chemo is very dangerous, and radiation is never required. It's bad. It causes damage to local tissues, even proton beam therapy, so it's very bad. We have, real complex conditions. Something as simple as an elevated PSA. We tell people to start off, do a free and combined PSA. It'll tell you if it's benign enlargement or cancerous. Then if it's really elevated, do a transrectal ultrasound and needle biopsy with a karyotype analysis by a pathologist. I recommend, if you have to do surgery, do what's called neurovascular sparing surgery, only if you're obstructing your urinary tract. And the treatment for cancer would be, again, the Isel's Clinic, BioCare, or Oasis of Hope. I like the Isel's Clinic and what their affiliates are here in America. Prostate flow to improve urinary flow. Vision Max to prevent cancerous transformation. And NutriDefense, the anhydrous catechin. In research showed that if you take the anhydrous catechin polyphenol, no cases of prostate cancer arose. The xenoestrogen detox removes the xenotoxins that are estrogenic-like molecules that are toxins. Malignant block and ellagic acid to repair the DNA. To remove the toxins, Keylor Max, Inflamex to strip off the capsule of the tumor cells. myco-D2 to stimulate your what's called ergothioneine to stimulate healing and regeneration and activating your T cells, and to kill off the stealth pathogens that trigger off cancer. Nutriodine, 15 drops in water 3 times a day, and Bladder Up and Swedish flower pollen to restore normal motor activity. If you lose prostate function, either from benign prostate or prostate cancer, you can't have normal orgasms for males. And also, a lot of time, if they do non-neurovascular sparing activity, you lose control not only of your sexual activity, but also bladder, so you have to be permanently catheterized. So they estimated last decade that 1.5 million men had unnecessary surgery or radiation treatment for cancer, and it permanently damaged them neurologically for their bladder control and sexual function. So that's the stupidity of modern medicine that is overkill and inappropriate for cancers that are growing very slowly. and other alternative treatments are much more effective. I had a question about hyperbaric therapy, and the question they want to know how long does the pressured oxygen last in your system. Firstly, when you're using ozone along with the pressured oxygen, it's going to have an effect on your biological system for up to 36 hours. Epigenetically, the actual oxygen will last in your body probably about 10 to 12 hours. Ozone will last longer because it concentrates in your tissues and increases tissue oxygen. And of course, you can use it daily. I recommend that hyperbaric oxygen therapy be used if you have a serious health problem, and there basically is nothing that will not be helped. Whether it's balding, organic brain damage, congestive heart failure, liver failure, decreased kidney function, polyneuropathy, post-cancer recovery after chemotherapy and radiation, radionecrosis of bones. So a couple of hours a day is ideal. And I recommend an ozone concentrator, which you can obtain from us, as well as a Respironics, for example, oxygen concentrator, and you put that into the compressor, and you'll get another 5 to 7% oxygen plus the ozone at a fairly good concentration. And when it's under pressure, Henry's law, it doesn't irritate the airways, but it actually increases the antipathogenic effect, the anti-inflammatory effect, and the stimulatory effect to protect you. So it's very effective. So hyperbaric oxygen, the power of one is oxygen, NutriMeds, scalar and energetic technologies such as micropulse developed at NASA to stimulate 400% stem cell regeneration and pain control, lumen photon pulse light therapy, X-Vitalizer, a static magnetic field that literally attaches static lines of energy to your tissue, energy points in your body, and pulses a magnetic field at the right frequencies to actually regenerate and your tissues into balance again, when it's hooked up to the 8D LRIS or the Metatron. So we can actually set up a morphogenic field feedback system for you. And that can be done at your own home. When we look at healing, it's amazing how the lumen photon works, and we've had people who have had one of our devices called a Metathera out of Germany. It's a frequency-based device, and you can dial it in. If you're trying to heal tissues, I recommend you adjust the Metathera to the potassium frequency, which they'll give you a dial on the device, and the lumen photon. Currently, my favorite device is the little micropulse, because it's only $300, and you can actually get a rechargeable 9-volt batteries to run it, a lumen photon as well. These are very, very portable devices you can have in a car or airplane if you're traveling, and they are very, very effective. A lot of people worry about vascular disease. There really is no need for heart attacks if we block the formation of the nidus of plaque by removing heavy metals, killing off the nanobacteria with allicin med and nitridine, protecting the artery wall with omega supreme krill and neurogen, which is docosahexaenoic acid, stopping the cardiovascular disease with cardiovasc, which will stimulate the microcirculation, remove heavy metals and detox the body and protect the artery walls, so it improves your perfusion of tissues. And remember, hypertension is simply your heart's response to a perceived decrease in perfusion of the tissues. So hypertension is a symptom of a problem that is downline, and just lowering your blood pressure doesn't necessarily mean it's corrected your perfusion. They've discovered in seniors over 60, if you over-control their blood pressure, you can actually decrease perfusion to their kidneys and brain, causing them to become demented or go into renal failure. So when your doctor wants to treat your blood pressure, they're not treating you, they're treating a number for your heart's compensation for your perceived decreased perfusion. What they need to do is work on improving your perfusion, which, of course, conventional medicine doesn't know how to do. And that's why conventional therapies are very limited. Only a few drugs that I would say, even in some situations, are useful. And we have natural alternatives for ACE inhibitor, diuretic effects, etc. Never use HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors like Zocor Lipitor. Never use a calcium channel blocker. If you use diuretics, you have to replace your minerals or you're going to get demineralized. And it will destroy your bones, your trace minerals that run all your enzymes. Remember, if you're taking vitamins, you want the activated forms. All of our NutriMeds are in the activated state. No other company has activated vitamins. Your body has to bioconvert them. and you want it to be targeted to the specific needs you have. So either by blood test or QRMA, it'll tell you exactly what your specific needs are. That's what makes it so radically different than the random approach. If you've had previous vascular events like a deep vein thrombosis or vascular disease, I recommend that people take lumbrokinase, developed by Dr. Sumi in Japan and Dr. Holsworth, and nattokinase and lumbrokinase we get from a American certified laboratory that gets it from China, from the University in Beijing, and it is certified in the specific units, will stop the formation of new plaque, will stop and reverse actually arterial blockages, and so will cardiovasc and nattokinase. So I tell people, if you have an event, we use nattokinase and lumbrokinase in addition to cardiovasc. We use gamma E plus to repair your ion channels, magnesium glycinate and magnesium taurate for your heart protection. VascuCare, which is propionyl L-carnitine, mitochondrial support with mitochondrial catalyst, and uridine, which is a pyrimidine to try to restore your mitochondrial function, and high-dose nutriodine. All the minerals in Vitamin Mineral Max and Minerals Plus, because there's 7 minerals necessary to deiodinate iodine. And all heart disease is basically a hypometabolic state. So, I consult with doctors and patients around the world, and I have protocols for virtually any health condition, or will develop or invent protocols based on their blood tests, genetics, organic acids, imaging studies, QRMA, ATLRS, or Metatron results, and can customize them for any health condition on the planet. And even if it's a metabolic disorder of a child or sexual dysfunction, we use things like Men's Max to release male hormone synergy to prevent male hormone to convert to female, and vice versa to protect females from bioconversion. Vision Max to protect not only their eyes but their prostate gland for men. Supernox to release nitric oxide for erectile dysfunction, and Noraval, acetyltyrosine. Enhanced for men, which will increase testosterone production as well as DHEA and pregnenolone. So there's virtually no health condition that I cannot approach and give you a protocol of natural molecules and enzymes that will repair your physiology, as well as these other technologies, hyperbaric oxygen, scalar technology, and stem cell therapies. So if you have questions, do call us at 888-212-8871. First hour tomorrow on the Genesis program, Michelle will be here with your questions from our order line or emails from NutriMedical.com, and we'll answer them on air, live. And coming up tomorrow as well, we will have Dr. Fred Graves back. We will also be talking with Professor James McCanney on the Rense Network show, NutriMedical Living with Dr. Bill Deagle. So stay tuned, and we will be here every day for you. And 7 days a week, we are available online.